Bob, what was it about Ron Radish or what he recently wrote about Bernie Sanders that you wanted to make sure people knew about?
Well, the New York Post had written an article that Bernie Sanders is a communist. And Ron Radish takes issue with that. And the issue that he takes with it is, well, he wasn't really a Soviet agent card-carrying communist. The Communist Party of the USA, capital C, communist, took orders from the Soviet Union. They were agents of a foreign and hostile government. And by the terms of the Communist Party's statement of principles, every communist had to follow the party line. If you did not follow the party line, you were evicted from the party. So anybody who was a member of the Communist Party took the party line. Bernie Sanders was not a Soviet communist. He did not take that party line. However, Ron Radish makes the point he should be more accurately described as a fellow traveler. And that is one who subscribed to the basic principles of the Soviet communists without himself being a communist party or an agent of a foreign government. But in terms of economic philosophy, that is that the government should have complete control over the means of production, Bernie Sanders was a fellow traveler.
I'm a little... that's almost more disconcerting because a lot of guys were in the communist movement for the girls, the sex, the drugs, the rock and roll. But it seems like Bernie Sanders actually may have believed in that stuff, and that's kind of scary.
Well, he goes back before the 70s, and then he talks about that Bernie is really the old left. He was in it because they actually believed in this stuff. It wasn't the sex, the drugs, and the women, and the rock and roll. It was, he really believes this stuff. And I have no doubt about it. I think that's one of his attractions, that he actually believes this. And he goes on in this article, which is in PJ Media, no, the New York Post, Bernie Sanders is not a communist. It is worth reading because it shows you that he believes in the government control of the means of production. Then he says he's modified it a little bit. He says not every bodega should be controlled by the government and not every small business controlled by the government.
Right.
But certainly he is very, very, very clear that he believes in single payer. And single payer is government control of the health care system of the United States and 1/6 of the economy. So that part is being controlled by the government itself, and it is a control of the economy, 1/6 of the economy. So Bernie may not be, the pure socialist in the world, but he's good enough for the Nation, which is the most left-wing publication in the country, and they think that he is satisfactory. So they may not be purist in the Leninist sense, but they are pretty close to it. And Bernie is what he is, and we should be very clear of where he is going.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll talk a little bit about one of his good points, and that is breaking up the cartel of the major banks.
Well,
and many of us on the right,
we can do that. We can do that separately, Bob. But I
have to understand that his goal is government control as much of the economy as reasonably possible.
Oh, yeah.
Something like the Chinese model.
Yeah.
I would say the Chinese model is what strikes me as Bernie Sanders' present philosophy.
Yeah, except they have Chinese people to make it work. But I was going to say, it seems like a lot of the appeal of Bernie Sanders is that he's simply not Hillary. I don't think anyone thinks Hillary believes in anything other than the advancement of Hillary. And, a thought occurred to me. Bernie Sanders is Jewish, and this is the type we often come across. In contrast to, say, the Black Panthers of the time, who were in it for the white women to a large extent, and basically F whitey, and a lot of the white, people who were in it for sex, drugs, and rock and roll. Bernie Sanders isn't that atypical for a non-religious Jew. We come across these types all the time. They really believe in this garbage.
And I think you make an excellent point there. Bernie Sanders doesn't scare a lot of people because we've seen zillions of people just like him, these secular, very left-wing Jews. And I think one of his attractions, in addition that he's not Hillary, is that he's authentic. I have no doubt that he believes exactly what he says he believes. And we met those kinds. I have met quite a few of these communist or socialist secular Jews, and there's no doubt in my mind they believe what they believe. They say they believe what they say they believe, and they say it because they think it is the best for the country and for society. They are not doing it to advance themselves or for any kind of nefarious purposes. They are very good-hearted. I think Bernie Sanders comes across as a decent, good-hearted human being who's genuinely interested in what's best for the country. That's what he wants. The fact that his policies will not accomplish that is a secondary issue. But on a personal level, people resonate with it. And the fact is that he has attracted more individual contributors than any presidential candidate or any candidate in American history, including Barack Obama, who was famed for the number of individual small contributors that he attracted. So Bernie is attracting more individual contributors than anybody else. And I think that's a testament to his decency, his honesty, and his authenticity. So the next step is to look at his actual policies, which are a total disaster. And he is proposing something like $19.6 trillion in additional taxes. There's an article that itemizes that, which is greater than the entire U.S. economy.
Yeah, and one more thing.
It's not going to work.
One more thing I want to add, Bob.
He's a decent guy.
One more thing I just want to add is that he's also not getting rich off it, like a Pelosi or a Feinstein or a Clinton. He's not doing this. And, even if he decided to at this point, he's so old that, he's missed the best years of a wealthy life. I don't think anyone believes in that. And, it's just so common. You had these people in Soviet Russia who, these secular Jews, it was a replacement religion for them. They dropped the Judaism that their silly ancestors had, and they needed something to replace it. And it's almost as if this is a religion for them. And that's why he seems like he believes it, as opposed to a Hillary Clinton, as opposed to a Dianne Feinstein.
I think you're exactly right. I think that for him, it's a secular religion. And you make another good point. Unlike the Pelosi's and the Clintons and a whole raft of them, he has not gotten rich from government. He has not gotten rich from all the things that he's done. He's been doing it consistently for 40 years, and that's another factor. That is why he's an honest guy. He's not trying to fool anybody. So I don't want to get rich. I want to live simply so that others can simply live. That's the old Quaker philosophy. Mm-hmm. And people are attracted to that. I mean, it's a disaster when we start looking at his policies, but that's sort of what the point of my little comment here is. Let's take a look at the $19.6 trillion in taxes that he is talking about. Let's look at his socialist philosophy in detail and what that means for America. It did not work well in Soviet Russia or the Eastern Bloc or the Baltic states, which all collapsed, or Poland or East Germany.
Yeah, of course not.
There's no reason to repeat the mistake.
Yeah.
However, it shows you where we are, that somebody like Bernie Sanders with his philosophy can get as far as he got, and how bad the Democratic Party really is.
Yeah, and I think the way to describe him, and I may do this in the title, is Bernie Sanders, not a communist, just an honest, decent, delusional post-Judaism Jew.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
All right.
I think that's very accurate.
Yep. Okay.
Very accurate.
I'm sure we'll come back to this topic.